Prologue, the weight of a promise. The gentle click of the cafe door drew Anya's attention. She looked up from her sketchbook to see Raghav step inside, shaking off droplets of rain. His eyes met hers, warm and apologetic, and he slid into the seat across. "Sorry I'm late," he began, voice soft. "There was traffic." Anya nodded, but didn't look up. Instead, she traced the rim of her coffee cup. "It's fine," she said quietly, though something in her chest felt heavy, as though the simple words carried centuries of unspoken disappointment. In that pause between them, the truth hovered. Love held them together, but trust was slipping through their fingers. Chapter 1: When Love Blossomed. Anya first met Raghav 6 years earlier, on a rainy afternoon in the old city. She ducked into a tiny bookstore to escape a sudden downpour. He'd been browsing poetry. Their hands collided over a battered copy of Tagore's sonnets. They laughed, shyly introduced themselves, and spent the next hour trading favorite lines over mint tea. By sunset, they had exchanged phone numbers and dreams. Her dream, to abandon her safe but soulless corporate job and open an art studio. His dream, to write a novel that would outlive him. They fell for each other on the promise of possibility. In the days and weeks that followed, each laughter-rippled moment and confessional night sealed a bond that felt unbreakable. They celebrated small victories, a painting sold, a chapter finished. They comforted each other through disappointments, and reveled in the strange joy of sharing fully, no walls, no secrets. Chapter 2: Cracks in the Foundation. For 3 years, it worked beautifully. Anya painted every morning, Raghav wrote in the afternoons, and each evening they met for dinner at the same table in a rooftop cafe overlooking the city lights. Love was enough, or so they believed. But life stresses began to chip away at their perfect routine. Raghav's father fell ill, demanding his presence back home from time to time. Anya's art sales plateaued, leaving bills unpaid. The easy laughter gave way to tired sighs. One night, Anya waited until Raghav was asleep before checking his phone to confirm the time of his train home the next day. She typed train schedule into his browser, but the autofill suggested Dia, the name of a colleague at his firm. Curious, she tapped it. Over the next hour she scrolled through messages: support at 2 a.m, compliments on Dia's recent art show, confidences exchanged. Nothing physical, but everything emotional. When Raghav woke, she confronted him. He ran his hands through his hair, stared at the floor, and admitted that he'd grown attached to Dia's kindness when he felt alone. But it wasn't love, he insisted. It was comfort. It didn't cross any line. Anya's heart sobbed, even as her mind tried to reason. How could he claim nothing was wrong when he'd handed a piece of himself to someone else? The crack in their relationship yawned into a chasm. Chapter 3: The Unraveling. In the days that followed, conversations felt like court cases. Anya monitored his messages, Raghav bristled at her suspicion. Their rooftop dinners became silent affairs, coded in tension. One evening, Anya found herself staring out at the city, heart pounding. She realized she was living in an anxious half-world, waiting for Raghav to return her trust, or to betray her again. She wrote in her journal, "I love him. I always will. But love without trust is like a house built on sand. Every storm will wash it away." Raghav noticed her distance and begged for forgiveness. He deleted the chat app, promised transparency, and even showed her his phone whenever she asked. But trust isn't a switch to be flipped, it's a fragile flower that must be nourished over time. Anya tried. She told herself to believe him when he said he loved only her. But the memory of those midnight messages clung to her, like wet clothes she couldn't shake off. Every time his phone buzzed, her heart skipped. Was it Dia? Or someone new? The sweet warmth of love cooled into suspicion. And as suspicion grew, love recoiled. Chapter 4: The Breaking Point. 6 months after the discovery, they were on that same rooftop cafe again, this time for a final conversation. Silver lamps glowed overhead, the city hummed far below. Raghav reached across the table to take her hand. "I love you more than anything," he said. "I've shown you. I've proven I'm sorry. Can't we just move on?" Anya's eyes filled with tears. She squeezed his hand, feeling the familiar comfort, but she couldn't lie to herself. "I've tried," she whispered. "But I can't trust you, not fully. And I can't keep trying." He stood abruptly, pain etched in every line of his face. Anya watched him walk away into the night, carrying their love but leaving behind the dreams they'd built together. Interlude, reflection and growth. Alone in her small apartment, Anya unpacked the fragments of her life, papers strewn on the floor, canvases leaning against walls, memories in every corner. She wondered, was love a failure if it couldn't survive this? Then she remembered her grandmother's words, "Trust is like a river. Love is the boat that sails upon it. Without the river, the boat drifts." In the months that followed, Anya threw herself into painting. She depicted rivers winding through forests, boats stranded on cracked riverbeds, wings unable to fly. Each brushstroke was a confession, a celebration of vulnerability and resilience. And as she worked, she realized that trust wasn't just something you give another person, it was something you cultivated within yourself. Trust in her own worth, her own judgment, her own capacity to rebuild. Chapter 5, A New Beginning. 3 years later, Anya stood in a bustling gallery, surrounded by admirers of her work. Her latest series, titled Rivers of the Heart, charted the journey from betrayal to self-trust and finally, to renewed openness. Critics praised her depth. One painting showed a boatsman guiding travelers across a golden river, another captured a dry riverbed beneath a bridge, light filtering through its cracks. As she greeted guests, a familiar figure appeared in the doorway. Raghav, leaner, quieter, but with the same thoughtful eyes, smiled shyly. He approached her exhibit, pausing before a painting of 2 boats tethered to the same post. One boat shattered, the other intact yet empty. "Your art, it's incredible," he said. "It speaks to everything we went through." Anya met his gaze. There was no anger, only compassion, distance, and a hint of curiosity. "You're right," she replied softly. "It does." They talked for nearly an hour, how they'd grown apart, how she'd found her voice, how he'd learned the hard way that loving someone means respecting the trust they place in you. When they parted that evening, neither held out hope for rekindling romance. Instead, they carried with them a sense of closure, and a deeper understanding that trust, once broken, can be mended only with time, honesty, and change. Epilogue, Building on Rock. Anya's story spread beyond the gallery walls. On social media, strangers shared how her paintings resonated with their own experiences of love and trust. She began leading workshops on art and emotional healing, guiding participants to express their own journeys through color and form. And every time she spoke about her work, she emphasized, "Trust isn't passive, it's an ongoing act of courage. It's choosing vulnerability even after you've been hurt. Without that, love becomes a fragile illusion." Years later, when someone asked if she believed in love again, Anya would smile and say, "Yes, because I believe in trust. Love is the song, trust is the rhythm that keeps it alive." And in that belief, she found not just art, but a life built on rock-solid ground. Trust may be quiet. It doesn't grab headlines the way love does. But it's the invisible current that carries love safely through every storm. Without trust, love drifts, stranded and powerless. And with it, love soars. Thank you for spending this time with us. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Don't Give Up. Let's continue exploring life's challenges and insights together.